Yeah, oh, Prof here, and I told you all this shipment was coming right behind me there. It's from Japan, like usual, but it's not music or anime. What does that mean? What else do we do on here? Tools, obviously. Tools. Let's get some lights on. Here's the previous video for those that are also into Japanese items. That was a, maybe not super rare, but super limited live Blu-ray collection there. That, you know, if I would have intended, would have gotten me a ticket to a concert. But, you know, have to go to Japan for that. Excuse me. Oh, a little bit of reflux there. What we do need, though, before we hit that up, is Pocari Sweat. Shouldn't have waited so long to drink this. I had to write an email that I thought was going to take 5 minutes and took 25 minutes. I had to clarify, it wasn't the writing part. It was the getting the information as I started writing more. I'm like, oh shit. Or think of how I wanted to handle certain things, right? That is technically writing the email, for those wondering. So, oh. That's not a US Amazon box, for those wondering. That is a Japanese Amazon box. However, I did not order this from Amazon Japan. I ordered these items, and they were shipped and sold by Amazon Japan on Amazon US. There are some missing items here, though, because they weren't on the US website at all, from no sellers. Went to the Japanese website. They wouldn't ship Amazon.co.jp, right? They wouldn't ship directly to the US, so those are sitting at the forwarder right now. I gotta pay up on for some additional shipping and tariffs. Last time the tariffs were more than a freaking ship. Considerable. In this case, though, because I ordered this through Amazon US, actually, I did notice the prices on Amazon JP were way less. So there's a high chance that Amazon US has baked in the shipping and the tariff costs into this when listing these on the US website with free shipping, right? There you go. You can tell once again, Amazon Japan. This is important because these have been on my list for quite some time. You guys have actually helped for that. I used, to order this here, I used all of my Amazon points, right? I used all the, not rewards, Amazon associate money. I get my, basically I'm going to load up number. It just comes as gift cards from you buying stuff, and the link's down below. I will try to link at least all of these. I can try to link the Amazon Japan ones, but you're going to have to jump through a lot more hoops to get the remainder of those. Then I used up a bunch of credit card points. You know, tried to make this as palatable as possible, right? Let's see here, order details. There's if they're all in there, that's a big old order. Oh, I thought I'd used my old credit card points. I used my new credit card points. Either way, I think in the end I paid like, was it either 52 or 68? I'm not gonna rip apart here exactly what that order details said, but I paid a fraction out of pocket money. And yes, I know between gift cards and all this other stuff, that is real money, but you know, it's kind of like I knew I had stored up enough to get all these. We went all out. All the fuck out. For those friends and family that watch this, if you need to borrow any of these ever, just let me know. Japanese Amazon, direct from the source. I want to find the website for this really quick here, and I need to get to the Japanese one, but it auto corrects the website, so you gotta, you know, totally not using a VPN, wink wink. Okay, so and you'll see I legitimately went all out. I don't know if we're going to cover all of these in this video, but we're at least going to do one of the best ones is right here on top. I don't know if this is showing here. Let's go there. That is a wide mouth. Super short. Remember, I have decent sized hands. Definitely people in my life that have bigger ones. A lot of U-turns don't though. Based on my mouse recommendations. This is a big ol' wide mouth, stubby, what we would call a crescent wrench, or Japan calls that a monkey wrench. I believe technically speaking, monkey wrench is closer to a pipe wrench. But that's what Japan calls those, or at least the translation of what Japan calls them is a monkey wrench. And we will look at the only two. Well, I call them a crescent wrench because here they're made by Crescent, and I have two. This one is a unique one, fairly rare actually. It's got this adjustable slider. It sucks, don't buy it. I bought it because I thought it was interesting. I thought it would make it better. I thought it would make it easier to use. No, it just adds a lot of play to the jaw. Now, kind of the opposite of, and you can see I've given this thing a little bit more that it can chew a couple times. Right there. So it's not like I don't use this thing. It's my only adjustable wrench. So it still got used, but that amount of what they call lash a lot of time, because of normally it's a gear like this guy, right? So on this little one, there's a little, that's not great either, to be truthful. But why'd I buy this guy? Because it's a little baby tiny guy. And a lot of little baby tiny guys that you normally buy are not name brand. It's a 4-inch Crescent, a real one. I bought this probably within the last year. And it's coming in handy a number of times. So this is the opposite of what we're looking at today. Today, we're going to see the big boys. But that, you're like, wow, you could just use a normal wrench. A lot of times you don't know what size wrench you need, and it's not really vital enough, in my opinion, to like get the correct one. Also, sometimes these are the best option because of their shape, especially on the high end. So, one adjustable wrench. You may also notice all of these. I mean, maybe you haven't noticed yet, but they're all the KUROKIN. ones, which is the higher end line from them. Here's a specialty one. Most of these, if anything, they have a dipped handle. This one has a rubber handle, but that is because it's this ultra thin, what are they saying, 4mm thick? Fujiya. They are, some people might argue, they are not the brand to go with. Here we go. Product. We gotta translate this. It actually, a lot of times I've noticed Firefox gets the translation wrong. It'll be like, here you go, monkey wrench. They actually have a lot of really nice products, but this, in my opinion, is the thing that they're known for. And the only ones that aren't coming are these ones. Maybe one day, but I'd use a different tool if I required like a very specific ratcheting butt on it, or this weird, that's like a non-adjustable wrench, but like one that you just jam on the bolt. It could be useful for some very specific situations. So if we just pick like the Fujiya Light Monkey No Ginza right there, right? Look at all of these. More often than not, you've probably seen this orange one. It's also available in a couple other colors. Right, there you go. FLA 43G-F. And these are actually available now in the US. If we go back to, we duplicate this tab and hit back. There you go. This is what is available in the US directly from them. Yep, you got your standard, and you got your little higher end with grip, which is this sort of, it's not even like a plasti dip. But really high quality, very big jaw, very thin jaw for the strength that they are. There is one other brand, and I was hoping it would show up in the Engineer is one. If you want little small guys like this, it's got those really thin jaws. That one's also like a pocket wrench. Lobster, or they have Lobtex. I don't know if this is a lobster, but a lobster is another one. There's Work Pro trying to knock off the Fujiya. There you go, right? Baco is probably the only other brand, and maybe for some what do you want to say, of the thicker boys, kind of close to that standard crescent, I would go with like a Baco. Baco, or Snap-on owns Baco and makes the Baco wrenches, if I'm saying that right. There you go. You can see somebody else knocking it off there. And the knockoffs for these, if you look at this, that's a Stubby, but it's not that much cheaper. But it's cheaper enough that people will see this and think it's as good as this. I mean, yes, you'd have to get a Stubby one because it's a Stubby one. Right there, yeah. So you could compare $25 versus $19. Buy the good one, right? Let's do adjustable wrench. There you go, lobster, right there. See, so that is another one that some of you may come out and say, you know what? I don't think your Fujiya is the best. The Lobster's brand. I'm not saying they're a bad brand. Not at all. They're probably great. Japan has a lot of very good tool brands. Like I said, I've heard of many people really liking the Lobster wrenches. Me personally, just prefer the Fujiya ones, especially because they have those, like they're a very wide jaw. It's to each their own, but they're a very, very wide jaw, right, and relatively thin up here. So it may be a different kind of use, but if you guys are wondering, Lobster would be, and it looks like Lob Tex might be what it's sold under in the US, because I feel like there might be another lobster brand of tools in the US or something. You know, Lobtex, it says there. You know, Lobtex. What they actually mean is, or what that is, at least in the Japanese market, would be a lobster wrench. I've heard about those for years. I've used one or two. Also, I've used the engineer ones, which are more like pocket wrenches. Maybe not as small as this little crescent, you know, but kind of in that realm. More unique. And I would say the Fujiya ones are, as I'm probably saying it wrong, we've been over that though, maybe are not on the same strength, because the Bako ones are like thicker, right? Maybe not on the same strength. They're also a very different design. These are very skeletonized. A lot of the Japanese tools tend to be quite skeletonized. Let's grab this guy. So this is a FLA 32 BG. And we'll get into, these have a very similar design. Like when it comes to adjustable wrenches, some of these are similar to a Knipex Cobra, and some of them are similar to a pliers wrench. Let's go to the toolbox, just for those of you that are new to this and don't know the difference between those. I will grab one of each. And I can actually grab a third one as well. I don't have multiple pliers. Oh, I was going to say I don't have multiple pliers wrenches. But I do now. I wouldn't have before the video the other day, to be truthful. All right. So, Knipex, here's another Cobra. All right. Here's another Cobra. Baby Cobra. From the holiday thing. And then if we go down here, we've got, you know, let's grab that too. That's another Cobra. I have a lot of more Cobras. I need more pliers wrenches, and we have one more in there. Oh, I can lift with these. A lot of these guys are like, oh, they're not worn. You literally saw the video where these were opened like less than a week ago. So yes, haven't even had a chance to use them yet. Whereas you'll see my limited edition ones have been used plenty. And a lot of people are like, oh, why are you using limited edition? Why are you buying a tool and not using it? So here's your difference between here's a Knipex Cobra, right? A lot of you are going to be like, that's a channel lock. It doesn't have the channels to lock, so it is not a channel lock, nor is it the brand channel lock. From my understanding, Knipex, or I think they say is Knipex, are the ones that basically popularized this button. My first pair that had a button like this was a Knipex or Stanley Fat Max. That still is in my tool bag that I use for on-site work for IT. So this is a Cobra. It is what they call a water pipe wrench. It is for grabbing. You can see these teeth are purposely misaligned. So you're always, no matter what you grab, are going to grab on 3 places. You're going to grab here, you're going to grab here, and you're going to grab up there. So if you put the pipe here, you're going to grab one spot up there. If you put the pipe here, you're going to grab one spot down there. So you're always at least touching 3 surfaces. And that's the whole point of whether the jaws, all of these are a different size and angle, right? So you're always gripping, right? The other big thing with Cobras is as long as you don't have to pinch it to hold stuff, right? Once you have it locked in, you just have to put pressure on the top. So if you're twisting it off, you don't have to grip to hold it shut and turn. Once it's gripped up, it'll hold itself closed. You just push and it'll turn, right? And it won't lose grip. Now that same sort of thing, because it doesn't necessarily have teeth, does not necessarily happen with the pliers wrench. If you're slightly a size off, and this thing has gotten enough use, even my mom and friends and family have used them. My mom actually bought it for a present for somebody else. She's like, "That's so useful." When did these start being a thing? And this is my first one. I've known about it for years prior. Probably had this for 2-3 years. Whenever this was my first one I got when this came out as the holiday one. You probably saw the video if you guys follow when I got this. It's a very good size. The ergonomics on this are stupid good. Though I have done plenty of things lately where I could use a bigger one. So what did I do when I needed a bigger one? I bought a smaller one. Genius, I say. So what's the difference? Well, with the pliers wrench, I don't know if you can see this, they always keep the jaws parallel, which is purposefully actually not the case of a Cobra, right? Because it wants to grab, it can grab anything. So with this, they even make protectors for the teeth here. And you can see I chipped that a little bit actually already. Whistles. I use my tools, you know? So it keeps it parallel, and you have a little bit, that's where, like, unless you have it all the way down and that is what's biting into your thing, you're probably going to have to hold it tight. And these get fairly wide, which is a really nice thing for their size. Often they will get wider than an equivalent size. I think we can even go more wide. So for an equivalent size crescent wrench, and this is bigger than this is, it can get wider, right? And it's more useful because it's a quick adjust. The other thing that you can do with a pliers wrench is they're actually automatically ratcheting. And they're like, what do you mean by that? If you just let off, it'll widen up, and that'll be enough to go over the... So say, I can tighten this up. A lot of it you can do one-handed. So you're tight now. Right here, you're holding it. Well, loosen up, and you can round it, and then hold it again. So all you got to do is loosen that grip up, and it'll widen enough to get over the bump on the bolt that you're on, right? So you can kind of ratchet with it. Not the case with I mean, if you got enough slop in an adjustable, maybe. And you probably don't want that, though. But when I got these, super useful. This pair gets used all the time. To be truthful, these probably get used more than these. And that's, I probably need a bigger pair of these as well. This size, very handy. I have done some things, though, where I've needed both bigger and smaller. We went smaller first. So that's what I'm kind of saying with the Fujiya ones is they kind of have, for each size and type, they kind of have two different jaw designs and two different, like, handle designs. Kind of one has teeth, much like a Cobra does, right? And one is smooth, much like a pliers wrench. The other equations that we have, the reason why I brought these out is, so you have bigger and smaller. Here's a tiny little pliers wrench, right? Much smaller head. A lot of people will carry these as EDC. This one does not require any button for adjustment. And they do make versions of these that don't require buttons. They make versions of these that auto adjust as well, where they're spring loaded. So you just clamping down, it's always down here with a spring, and then you clamping down, it'll automatically tighten up to it. Depending on what you do, that might be for you. They also have what they call their alligator, which is effectively an improved channel lock. But this is more similar to how Snap-on chose to make their Cobras, which, those kind of sold really well, but then I haven't heard about them since the first batch. Maybe I'm wrong. I just could not see the jaw design on the Snap-on being anywhere near as useful as on a pair of Cobras. And this is, I think, the 7-inch, I want to say, which is probably why I like it. I tend to like 7-inch tools. A lot of people with their Cobras, they want the 10s because that's like a nice big pair of Cobras that you can do a lot of shit with. So this is the extra small Cobra, no grips. Some people dip grips on here. These flats are actually really comfortable to me. They're molded in, like, Really, really nice, you know, just as an option. Well, here's something completely different, though. Same size, same, but different. This is the extra slim. I don't know if you can tell, but that jaw there, and you'll see the reason why I'm bringing these up is this is a great example of what you're going to see in these crescent wrenches. This is a slimmer jaw this way, right? Thickness-wise, right? But then also it's longer. See? So it's not this rounded, it's more of a like a needle nose Cobra. And then this is the updated one that has the twin grip like groove up in the top for grabbing things, right? Now, I don't think there's gonna be that much of a difference when it comes to these crescent wrenches here, but you can tell it's a lighter weight, like the material is just thinner. That is also why this is not made in the nip extend grip, which is the comfort grip. This is the old comfort grip here. And then besides this, they did make first the smaller size because the extra slim originally came out in a 10-inch, which is right here. But this is the newer one. Also with the update, they added far more teeth in here. Originally, the Cobra, which is this guy, right, had teeth far more similar to the pliers wrench. See how there's way more in this Cobra here? That is what they did. So the extra slim, the smaller one, did not exist before. They added that the grooves up top that are more like a twin grip, where you can grab around objects this way and hold it, right? So you can hold it here, pinch it, manipulate it, wire, manipulate bolts, manipulate anything cylindrical, round, small, or for screw removal. You know, engineers known for making screw removal pliers. Same sort of thing here. Having those sideways, opposing grooves are really nice for that. And then they updated their 10-inch. So this is, when we're talking 7-inch to 10-inch, I believe. Right there's the size difference, right? A little bit easier to tell when they're different Cobras. So that's sort of thing you're also going to see with the adjustable pliers here. This feels great in the hand. I can see why people would want basically this in a 10-inch. Now for me, I think this extra slim might be more useful. A lot of what I do is not high strength, high strong, requiring a lot of force. Let's put it that way. I have only recently started needing pry bars, like proper pry bars that you would use for like adjusting things like cars, and I could really have used them. But yeah, so that's the difference between that. You're going to see about that in adjustable wrenches, like something like that. And then here we have a similar thing. So this is a similar thing you saw between this rubber grip and the no grip and the dip grip. You're seeing here dip grips on the pliers wrench, the limited edition, no grips on the mini or the extra small. And then we have the old comfort grip, and I've been told that at least internationally this has already come out, because it's a very popular pliers in the nip extend, which is, it hurts me because these are very expensive. And I will get them in a nip extend. These will probably be relegated to the pack outs in the garage then. And I only just got them because originally the Home Depot sent me the wrong pair, not the SO2. The SO2 is important because it is the only pair of pliers wrenches. Those are laser etched or laser engraved knurling on there. Still smooth, but it's got some grip to it. Normally the pliers wrenches are like this, smooth. So that's another differing thing you're going to see there is with the Fujiya adjustable wrenches is different types of grips, different types of sizes, different types of jaws. I thought the best way to illustrate that was the various, especially the Cobra versus the pliers wrench. It may not be that extreme, but I had some good examples here for comparison. This would probably be, if you watch Last Best Tool, I believe it is, this was his choice for an everyday carry. I would much rather have this because you can kind of, with those grippers in there, you can kind of use it like a Cobra a little bit. And it's a 150. I know some people prefer the 125. You can get this in the comfort grip and get much more force on it then. And I don't think that's, I mean, I guess it is that much bigger. Look at that. But, you know, how much use is this to you versus this guy? You know, this is kind of like carrying like a Leatherman size. Maybe a little bit longer. The 125 is probably closer to that. But, yeah. And you can see some of this, a lot of these are so new, they still have like their original oil on them. Not these guys. These guys. Because I haven't had a chance to use them. You guys probably... the video may be so new, you may not have even watched it yet. So let me just put these off to the side here. I want to do that as a bit of a primer, so you kind of get where we're going with these Fujiya adjustable wrenches here. And we'll probably leave this video at that once... Oh, it's a little baby one! This guy and this guy are the same. What? Okay. That's a FLA. That's an FLA, okay. Oh. This guy fell out of his bag. It's an FLS. FLS. So you can see there with this, they have some teeth, and they differ, kind of like the Cobra, where there are less teeth on the back than on the front, and they're spaced differently, because you don't want the teeth to align when you're trying to grab stuff, right? The AC or the heat went off. Listen to this. That's how much play. Like, that's... Oh, these KUROKINs. Man. They're weighty too. Even though they've been skeletonized, like, because the weight's all in the head. All right, what do we got? FLA, more of the BG is the black gold. I believe is why. Double check, because they have some like weird, like the English translations are no Ginza, black gold. And I believe the Ginza is like teeth or no teeth, if I recall correctly. Yeah, change to English. The TripAdvisor. Ugh. I probably have to throw it in the translator because it's like translating and me looking up a translation. But I believe that is what that means in this case. It's like no teeth. But all these are the KUROKIN, which is their more premium line. You can see it here. KUROKIN. God, this feels... I wish they made more of them with this rubber handle, to be truthful. But that, like you saw, like their stuff goes from nothing to... okay, so we got the FLT 34, and this is the FLT 38. I can tell how thin the 3.5 millimeter thickness jaws. That is... Remember how I said I had to buy some extra thin wrenches in order to do some brake work? Or I did. Okay, so it turns out you buy cheap enough Harbor Freight, like they have some open-ended, or you would call that open-ended box wrenches, you know, just a standard wrench, non-adjustable, wrench. You buy cheap enough ones, and they make them so cheaply they're actually thinner than a good one, like significantly so. So that's how I could still do that. However, downside, the very cheap wrenches are also very short. They're like almost half the length of, say, my Milwaukee's, which aren't even that particularly long or amazing quality. Like, they're good, but they're not, like a Snap-on or even some of the newer Icon. Had Icon been available, I might have picked that up instead. This is an FLS. FLS. Oh, no, get back in your bag. FTS. This one's probably a bad one to show, but basically, there's no teeth. There's no teeth on an FTS. I actually just watched a video from a Japanese creator where he was going into kind of a premium tool shop, and they had, I could tell right away, they had the Fujiya, and they had the entire lineup. They have some really nice looking wire cutters and pliers. Now this is why I know their KUROKIN line, right? FTA 32. This is an FLA, so this is the other line. This is smooth jaw, and you can see there's also this notch here. I think that's to help you tell if you're grabbing a smooth jaw or a toothed jaw. So this one gets really friggin' wide. You can see how it comes out this side, right? And the bigger thing, this is going to be your super general purpose one. It also has flippable jaws, so you can do pipes, right? 38.5, so a little bit wider than this guy, a little bit bigger handle as well. Not by much, but just Fujiya reversible jaw pipe wrench. $200mm. They're saying 200mm. This is the only kind of like standard one that has the rubber handle on it. We'll keep it with the thin ones just because it has different grip, different packaging, right? Oh, we got a big boy. This is the stuff, man. 53mm FLA, FTA. So we have all the FLAs here. JIS M33 something. They got Instagram, of course. Insta's big in Japan. So is Twitter, though. Which they can now call Exu. They finally switched. For the longest time, if you're wondering why Twitter stuff still redirected, is because of Japan. That's a big boy. That's the 53mm in the FTA, which is the smooth jaw. And we got one more in here. It's just vibing. Yeah, these literally were ordered from this an FTA. Yep, also an FTA. So smooth jaw, this one I can show you. So that's your difference there, is that these are smooth jaws here. And they got this little notch right there. I am really going to debate doing, like they dip their smaller ones, right? So there's play this way, and I think some people complained about that. That really doesn't matter. The like play this way. The play this way is what matters. Let's grab the big boy. This is the FLA BG, the 53mm, the big boy. A little bit of play this way, just like the other one. But not all, like, That's not even it's a fraction of a millimeter this way. That's what I was talking about. Like these things, and look how thin the jaw gets. And yet, if you really need the torque, you can go down onto the teeth that are back here, right? And really, and that's where the material is thicker. So that's something that is really nice about theirs. Like a lot of the other brands, and it kind of gives you, they actually market this as well. Most brands would go, like, say this would be a 48 or a 47. They add that little bit just to get you that you know, like if that was there roughly, they get you that little bit more, and they just always seem so freaking quality when having them in my hand now compared to what I've experienced out of the US. Now I haven't held any like the really good old school, like made in the USA, what do you want to call it, like back when it was like a thing we did, you know, because for the longest time, like the Baco ones have been like the ones to get, which were Snap-on, right? And I was always, once I saw these, more interested in these. Especially Japan does not mind going with the colors, right? The now these are the KUROKIN, so the black with the gold. That's their like that's Fujiya's like, hey, that's our top of the line, like our primo prime line. That was a 43 millimeter. Do I have a 43 millimeter in this guy? This one? That's in 2 bags. I don't know if that's big enough to fit that. Nope. It is big enough to fit this guy though. $43 here. About the same. Let's hold that there. Yeah, I would argue about the same. Probably going to undertake, not with these right away, but probably going to dip these. And I wanted to go yellow because that's my color, but they already dip them black when they dip them. I'm probably going to have to go black just to keep it there. But I do find it surprising that on these bigger ones, they didn't dip them. Maybe I will use them and find out if I really need it. But at least for my hand, the additional width of the grip, I can imagine, especially when using gloves, will be appreciated. So you can see something else here. I think the serrated jaw ones are a little bit more pointy. I'd have to get the calipers out to find out. But you can also see they're a little bit sharper lines. Like it's like straight, whereas this is more of a swoosh. Same thing here. It's like in and up, whereas this is more of like a swoosh. And I think that's something I was finding online, is people were saying the smooth ones, which you would think would be more precise, have more play in them than the like toothed jaw ones. I don't know if one is considered more premium than another. You know, but that was always an interesting thing with these and a lot of the other, like the Lobster brand and stuff like that. They always have this really big, beefy, wide head that looks, you know, very strong, etc. on it, very well built, and then they just go with. I've seen it on a lot of Japanese tools where the handle, they don't want weight in the handle, whereas if you look at a lot of Snap-on tools, the Baco, you're getting a lot of. There's a lot of weight, extra weight in the handle itself, for one reason or another. Like, I bet you this would balance, like, here. Yeah. So that's where they're balancing it. You know. Makes it very good for adjusting. Feels great there. But, yeah, and I did, like I said, I was reading some reviews where people were kind of commenting like, oh, the smooth ones, meant for, like, the nice finish, actually have a little bit more play on them than the toothed ones. Now, this is just, I only compared the 43 to the 43. But we were kind of hearing more noise as we were unboxing these. And that might be a newer design is why, because like I showed you like how the cutouts are here. I'm not that much of a, for those of you that did follow me, I mean like the label on here is newer, that's for sure. It's got the QR code with the, you know, rather than just the Instagram logo. So I guess fight me down below too if you're like, no, 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 lobster is the real one, yada yada yada. Hey, to each their own, I guess. I'm going to be very happy with all of these. So I don't think we're going to go any further into the various different lines in this video. You'll have to come back for another one. Also, if you noticed, these are 4 sizes in every type. Some are missing. Yes, for whatever reason, despite this being shipped from Amazon, got coded JP. Ordered from Amazon US. There are a couple models that are on Amazon code.jp, but will not and cannot, on their website at least, ship to the US. No idea. Whether you order, like they're not even on the US website, when you go on the Japanese website, they will not let you edit your cart if your shipping address is the US. Probably due to tariffs, but I don't know. Like, for example, we have the 53, we have the 43, and we have the 32. I think we're missing the 28, like this guy. Right? Why can't the 28 of this ship here? Right? The other thing we're missing a lot of, if you notice, is these are the F. Yeah. Okay, tooth. There you go. This is where most of them are going to be. FTS. Short guy. Stubby. And I got the one. Explain that. So, if you guys have any questions on this, you know, because the other videos will be coming out later, I can try and answer them if you ask them down below in the comments. Otherwise, we do have our Discord link down below where we talk tools, shop. Heck, I was going through as I was repairing a vacuum over this past weekend. I had a vacuum down to literally nothing. An old, I should say, an old canister vacuum, but like 20-year-old. Was it Ricard? I think it is canister vacuum, and fixed that up, got it working. Turns out it had a hairball, literally. And compared to this old thing, we're still gonna keep it because this is like a meme. I think the UK tool guy I watch, he does shadow foam, and he does like tool pickups and stuff like that. I don't know if it was in the US, but somewhere it was a place that specialized in like older weird tools, or it was like a mom and pop tool shop in the US, and they still had one of these. Yes, back when I bought this, it was still patent pending. And the other thing is this doesn't stay tight, like this mechanism. So then you go, and that's why that metal fatigued up here, is because it would not actually. There's so much slack in this mechanism. And here, this you see the cover on this moves. And like with a ratchet, let's say, this cover, which would be on the back side of the ratcheting mechanism, if that's not tight, there's all this slop in the mechanism. So it's very important. They always mill that very, very precisely. Yeah, the fact that I can move this up here, and it moves like the cover that this slider's on. And yes, that screw is tight. You can see why this didn't last very long, right? Though, like I said, I mean, this thing's probably 20 years old now, to be truthful. Probably is. There you go, you can see I slipped on something that was harder than the jaws of this. See. So. You're like, oh, I got all these, so your literally little guy isn't useful. No. This is still way smaller than anything we got from Fujiya. You know, maybe one of the engineer ones or something like that could replace this guy. But that's not what we're looking at today. Went overboard with this, but it's been in my wish list, my shopping list on Amazon for a long time. I finally went through and found every single one, which, by the way, that's why I will have to link these down below for you. Because some of them you cannot find, though they're listed on Amazon US, you cannot find them via the search on Amazon US. The other thing I made sure to do is there are third-party sellers that sell these. And often, I mean, it's within a couple bucks, I would usually say. I think one of them might have been more than $5 more, but most of them are within a couple bucks of these other third-party sellers. I would personally, and I do feel much more safe, etc., buying shipped and sold by Amazon, in this case, shipped and sold by Amazon Co.jp, right? And it just ships to the US. By the way, something fucking nuts. Here we go. We'll finish this up. That box you see right there left Japan on the 2nd at noon. 2nd at noon. Right? It was delivered today, the 3rd, US time, before I started work, which is at 2. Yeah. DHL is friggin' nuts. Takes me 2 weeks to get something from Illinois here. Right? Takes me like apparently a day to get that here. From literally halfway around the world. A 12 to 13 hour time difference depending on daylight savings. That even I was in disbelief. Yesterday when I went to sleep, it was in Nagoya. Or just left. I'm like, ain't no way it's gonna be here. Right? Or that was the last update. I think it might have already left by then. But I'm like, ain't no way it's gonna be here. Oh. You guys saw me crack it open. Now, how do you store these? Because I want to ideally do like what I did with my pliers rack. I know I don't have the other ones in still. But you would think storing them this way, vertically, you'd fit all of them in one drawer rather than if I have to do those flat. Oof. You know, theoretically from the ass end here, that's why they changed this little piece. So you can tell you're grabbing a smooth jaw versus a tooth, like Nogidza. Yeah, let me see if I can bring that up here. So, see? No Ginza. No Ginza. Right? And there's a bunch of them like that. Where's the other one? There you go. No burr in this case. I probably have to look up the original naming. But yeah, check them out. You got to go to Fujiya's website. This is the English one. If you VPN to Japan, you might be able to just change language, but it kept wanting to redirect me. So I just, whip out your VPN, get over in Japan, and these are, like, if you want US sales, the fact that they're directly selling in the US now, hell yeah. I'm almost going to guarantee that they changed a bunch of their distribution due to Corona-chan. A lot of Japanese companies did. So, and the Japanese industry lost out because this stuff used to be made 100% there. But when Japan locks down, you can't import or export diddle squat. Yep. You're going to figure out how to make that work. So here you go. Here's they've got a couple different ones. They got the Fujiya, I think it's Vice. I've heard of them before. But the KUROKIN is, I think I've seen Victor on some stuff as well. So you got your standard Fujiya. It's going to redirect us to EN. Yeah. But this is the page that we're on. View products. Adjustable wrench is going to see where it still redirects us to the US website, and that's because I went to English up here. We go Japanese. There we go. Brand Fujiya. See, it's still in English. You gotta really play around with it. Getting here was not simple, but this is the KUROKIN website, and these are the adjustable wrenches. Like I said, these ones with these sort of like ratcheting wrenches in the handle seemed rather specific to me, because you got a pipe wrench one and you have a normal. I don't know if that's a smooth jaw or a. I don't remember what the L means versus the S, and in the what order they are, right? But this is the pipe wrench one, but with that on the end. Now the website works like dog doo-doo. You'd think if you could click on these, like, it would bring up like a page. It doesn't. It just like reloads and doesn't work right. That could be my browser. It could just be how it is. Could be how it be. But they have some really cool stuff here with their. I believe a lot of their pliers look very engineer-esque, like the bigger engineer pliers. But like their wire cutters seem very pointy for what they are. They all have tethers. I'm 99% sure that this is made by another Japanese brand that I've featured before. Right over here, you got the Tsunoda. I'm not saying that Fujiya can't make this, but more than likely, this is a Tsunoda flush cut. This is the specific one for tie wraps. But they do make ones for wires as well. I have a feeling that is a Tsunoda made for them. That also might be why some of these looked awfully engineer-esque, is maybe they're OEM by the same company that does that. But looks like they have some bigger flush cuts. Like their whole KUROKIN line, they look really, really sleek and clean, etc. Yep, that's an engineer for sure. That is a rebranded engineer. You can see it by the kind of like the tooth. Very similar to that the Knipex Cobra ES, which is based on the twin grip. That handle style too. That's very engineered. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'd have to do some research online, but I would not be surprised if the KUROKIN line is like, this is very much Fujiya, right? But a lot of brands, even like Knipex, they're screwdrivers. I forget which brand they partner with. Or if you go with Fellow, they make screwdrivers, so they just use another brand's pliers, basically. And they either have them rebranded in the same colors, or sometimes they don't even bother. They just put their logo on it so they can set a kit, because electricians are going to need pliers as well as screwdrivers. And a lot of companies want to buy like one kit here. Like, imagine that kit full of like your standard loadout for an electrician. They want to just be able to buy that, hand it to an employee, and be like, yep, you can work now. And they'll pay for that, right? Like here, these are adjustable pliers wrenches. I didn't even need those. Know those existed. Those look like not exactly. That looks like a Cobra. You can look at the head of that. That is a knockoff Cobra. Is it a knockoff? Is the question, though. Like, these are obviously older school. Huh. 140, 185 BG. 140 185 BG. Fujiya. KUROKIN. Oh, we're getting all Japanese results because I'm on Japanese VPN. There we go. Quick adjust water pump pliers. Those look like Knipex. Those look like Knipex. Those look like Knipex. I go get Knipex. See? And hey, sometimes you just gotta admit, normally these aren't two different colors. That's because it's a limited edition. Normally you would get it in either the nickel plated or the chrome plated or the like black oxide or whatever it is finish. That's that. That's that. The smaller guy. Mr. Schubert yeah, I've seen him advertise them before. I'm not saying that's bad. If you like the line, like, basically, because it seems like KUROKIN may not be, like, it may be a subsidiary of that, but that doesn't mean they're limited to just what Fujiya makes, right? Because these are, I've also seen these before. I don't remember what brand it was, but you see the little spike on the end with this very high angle compared to like a Cobra, which tries to get, especially when you get down here, it tries to get as close in a natural hand. Like, it's a different use for different strokes for different folks. These remind me of like a 90s era 90s era Craftsman. I have no idea who made them for them back then, but they remind me of, I've used Craftsmans that look very much like that. They were even black. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. And I wouldn't get Fujiya. I do know they make adjustables, but I would get Tsunoda's. I still have some in my cart, I believe. Yep, there you go. Tsunoda. Right there. So these are thick and thin slim joint, and they have the triple adjustment. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these KUROKINs are, and as much as I need new lockjaw pliers, there's a high chance I'm going to spend the extra to get the snap-ons, as they're the only ones that are still made by whatever brand it is they bought out, because they stopped selling them OEM. There's many brands from Japan that make really nice slip joints. Tsunoda is just one of them. I think that there's one. Usually for any brand in Japan, there are two adjustable brands that are like really, really well regarded. You know, two slip joint brands, really, really. They make other stuff too, but like really, really well regarded. Engineer, known for making extraction pliers, right? Where the Vampire, the U.S. brand, those are just Engineers, right? And those have got really big in the U.S. market, and that's just because Engineer doesn't come here. Now they do via Amazon, but you know, back in the day when the brain is farting, when they were introduced, you know, most people probably had no idea. Even that, the ones that look like the Nipex Cobras, right? These are so niche, like the Kurokins that look like, I swear they're Cobras. I might be wrong. I couldn't find a big enough picture. Fujiya quick pliers. Maybe not. Maybe they're just that good of a knockoff or a modification. But I mean, we're talking. That's got the same. That profile is so close. See, and I really don't want to encourage that. You can see the mold's a little different because it's got that little like notch up there, right? I don't know. What does that look like? A little bit different profile, I'd say. But damn, are they close from an angle? It seems like, I don't know if Nipex lost some of their patents. Like, what I mean by lost is like they're expired or what. But I mean, they're getting darn close on a lot of these. Black and Golden shows a red one. Like, bruh, that's not an Nipex. Come on. I'm like, look at that. That's even got the circled out. Here. Like, getting even more sus. Yeah, 99% that's an Engineer or based on one, or made by the same OEM. You know, there's a channel lock. See the channels it locks in. That's like an old school, looks pretty cheap style channel lock as well. You know, I'm not saying everything this brand makes is tippy top. Some of these designs, like especially with these big hexagon nuts here, remind me of some stuff that came out like in the 90s. If I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, check out Fujiya's stuff. They got some bolt cutters here. Realistically, I don't. Maybe they're well regarded in Japan. I'm gonna tell you, those mini bolt cutters, I'm gonna go buy a Nipex. I've seen them do just crazy, stupid things you should probably never do with them. Oh, and there you can see why the lobster is, you know, like known. It's got this kind of like the Cobras, where it always touches three sides. They're saying boom, boom, boom. So no matter the width, see how down here it doesn't touch. They're saying with the lobster, as long as it's within the width, you're getting three sides on it rather than two. Yeah, you know, that's definitely unique. But you can see on the jaws here, this is much closer to what like a standard adjustable wrench would be, right? Whereas they might have some that are a little bit more pointy down here, you know, but this style of the Fujiya here, right? That caught my eye. It's kind of like a less bulky version of this Baco. And I'm sure these are really quality. I know Snap-on's been selling them for downright forever. But you got to have that wish list, and you know, I had finally put down my money, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and you'll hit that subscribe button, that like button, and we'll see you in the future ones where we actually go through the different lineups of these wrenches. And you can talk about them individually. So see you in the future. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Peace.